Welcome back, my fellow agents. It is I, X7, your agent of Animated Awesome, and the host of Xenorama, the podcast of heroes and monsters, the co-host of GD Explanations. So you should look that one up too on YouTube. Today is Monday, that is Animated Cartoon Day, and we are talking about the next 3 episodes of the Secret Lives of Waldo Kitty or The Adventures of Waldo Kitty. Take your pick. They're both the same cartoon about this orange and white ginger cat who is kind of a coward, but eventually does the right thing eventually. These episodes were first aired September 27th, 1975 to October 11th, 1975. And I remember I saw one of them for sure, probably all 3 of them, as cats and pseudo superheroes. I don't remember a lot of them, but it works. So before we get too much further into it, please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. Let me know what you think about Filmation and their output, as well as Waldo Kitty and what their take on the daydreaming Walter Mitty, one of the two. So, having said all that, let's roll. Okay, so here's a new thing we're going to do for at least for these episodes: is show a 30 or a little teaser of what's to come. You'll figure out who the Waldo's secret identity is going to be, or superhero identity is going to be here. So let's see how this works.
Yeah. Next on the agenda, the old archery shootout. Yay! At last, this shall separate the men from the boys. Ha ha!
As you might have guessed, this episode is titled Robin Cat. So the take is on Robin Hood. There's Waldo, I keep wanting to say Walter, but Waldo looking gorgeous. Felicia looking relatively gorgeous in a big floof. There's Walter, apparently that's Waldo's owner. We don't ever see their faces, so they probably were all dubbed in, giving him some kind of food. But guess who shows up to steal it? His little tail just wags the whole time. You could tell these animals knew each other and were comfortable. But, the dubbing just tries to make him sound ferocious. And he just. And looky here. Waldo, the cat playing Waldo, is a polydactyl cat. Look at all these toe beans. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I hadn't noticed that in the previous 3 episodes, but you can definitely see him. Felicia's annoyed because he won't stop won't stop Tyrone from eating all the other animals' food. So off he goes. There's Tyrone as the sheriff of Nottingham, or whatever. Robin Cat makes his appearance. Now it's very much based on the adventures of Robin Hood with Errol Flynn, Basil Rathbone, and all the rest. And the rest, including John, or the skipper's father, was in there as Little John. And they use actual arrows, sort of. I mean, this one has a arrow tip on it, and and there's some action in here. They don't ever come in contact with each other. They generally tend to run over. I thought for sure he was going to say, "When I say giddy up," but Tyrone is not Yosemite Sam, who's still from Texas. And we do have Friar Duck, which I guess is obviously a common, isn't a surprise that this is what they use. Lady Felicia, she doesn't even get to change her name. And I think that's supposed to be Little John, but he's also covering for Will Scarlet as well, but I don't know that he got a name. And there's Prince John, who, is robbing from the poor and giving to the rich. And good old Filmation's use of shadows so they can animate quicker. There's a couple of other of the merry men who don't get named, and then they decide they go right to the tournament because it's only a 20-minute cartoon, and they let Felicia go free, or do they? Somehow this disguise fools everyone. I mean, he might as well have put glasses on. Friar Duck has hair, or well, and a goatee. So off we go. There's a pie eating contest that Prince John wins. Jousting without being on horses, so they're really using their quarterstaffs. Couldn't resist. And the bad thing that the comedy, um, what do you want to say? The slapstick happens. These characters make it happen to themselves, so you don't feel sorry. Obviously, our heroes are outmatched, but this is where we see the archery contest. The bad guys have rigged it so that they just move the target. But look, there's no arrowhead on this one, so somehow it still manages to tie there. They reveal who they are, and Sheriff Tyrone, uses a large butter knife to go after our heroes. This was a clever bit. I don't know why Felicia didn't just leave, but he just runs right through, grabs her, and takes her out of the jail there. So they end up in the mud. There's King Richard the Lionheart. You can tell that's once again right out of the Adventures of Robin Hood, right out of the Smothers Brothers. And now we're back to our polydactyl sir. So he gets Tyrone chasing him, and he ends up trapped in a box. This poor dog. I hope they got paid a lot, and everyone's happy. And now, well, I've just ruined the whole thing, but let's go to the second episode and the preview for that one.
Right on top of things. Captain's log, stardate 6995. Markdown from 7,000. The Starship second prize has been assigned to carry an emergency shipment of kibble to the dog star Sirius. The entire constellation of Canis Major may miss dinner unless we reach them in time. We are breaking course to investigate a mysterious-looking craft approaching.
Yes, this is Cat Trek, with the noble Captain Herc commanding the Starship second prize, which, since Booby Prize had already been used by Bobby Boris Pickett in Star Trek, this is probably not surprising. Although I don't know that I knew that by now. I don't remember when Star Trek actually came out. So here's some other cats. There's a little tortie there, and just a full-on orange kitty with his one brain cell. And I don't know if they're supposed to be the other members of the crew, but there we have it. So that's Waldo and Felicia are playing with a toy rocket, and they must be highly susceptible to catnip because they really play with it. I mean, they're bad around. Waldo, of course, comes along and steals it, which is where we get the Starship second prize. Dr. Moans, Mr. Croc, and Sergeant Oh-Hoo-Ha. Now, to older ears, Oh-Hoo-Ha just sounds funny. And I'm going to leave it at that, but he says it several times. And it is a click-off ship, so I do not think they were using their one brain cell to rename this. But I do like the design of the ship. I mean, it's kind of a cross between a Romulan bird of prey and a Klingon bird of prey. And there's our vessel of miscreants, led by Tyronius. And I don't know why he's trying to bother. He has to be from the Dog Star, right? And there's Captain Herc himself with, I don't know if they did this on purpose, but it sure looks like he's wearing a hairpiece now, doesn't it? So they sort of have a fight, but they don't. They send down this, and Sergeant Oh-Hoo-Ha sends it back with her force beam that turns into a fan, shakes him up. There's his communication system, which is what I've told people in our day. Our cell phones were 2 tin cans and a string. They all were voiced by the same 3 people, and they do a good job, but they don't sound like, he tries to sound as cold and logical as Spock, but And Dr. Moans, this is how they can block out the view screen with a cover. Now, I think this was supposed to be Scotty, but I didn't hear his name. But Lieutenant Ohuha is drying her hair, and they make fun of Tyronius for not speaking correctly, and he gets annoyed at him. They go off. They bounce through the ship. They do the old open the door from one side. They go out the other side. Apparently, airlocks you don't need in the well, it's a daydream, so of course not. That ship's kind of bland, but and he sneaks aboard, and they drop the hammer on the second prize. And there's their just click-off disruptor guns, which they can reflect back with mirrors, which you never saw in Star Trek. And now he's got one, and they play. There's our transportation system. They've got another mirror to destroy the secret weapon of Tyronius. Yeah. Gain his hovercraft. Don't even read the synopses in Wikipedia. They're not very good. But they've won, saved the day, and off the second prize goes to deliver the kibble to the Dog Star. Waldo gets a serious look on his face. Tyrone gets trapped, and they clean each other. Now the woman, I'm assuming, she takes Tyrone out of the yard. In the episode, this dog is saying, "I don't want to go. My friends are here," and they go to sleep. And now, yes, another Catman episode.
What are we waiting for, Catman? Time's a wasting.
That's the word.
What word?
A wasting.
Who'll get it?
Waste. What goes around your waist?
Holy hot rod! The seatbelt!
Only when we all knuckle down and buckle up our seatbelts will safety be properly observed. Now, activate the cat door. I just remembered what we forgot to do.
I know!
Fix that automatic lifter.
Yes, it is our second Catman episode where Catman meets the Poochkin. Something, it's the penguin. Again, anyway, there's Sparrow's back. They're having a good time wearing a top hat, and it's covered in catnip because both cats play with it. Naturally, Tyrone shows up. Hi, I'm being supervised now by Agent K. Have you heard Filmation's laugh track is horrible, but it doesn't seem to be as loud as the one Hanna-Barbera always used in the 70s, so I don't know if it makes it better or not. I just think if you have to be told to laugh at something, it's probably not as funny as it could be. Sparrow flies away, although he's still a parakeet, and lands on some statue of probably St. Francis of Assisi, wouldn't you think? Tyrone does look very dapper in the hat. And she has got schmutz all over her from playing around in the grass. And the dream begins. There's the Poochkin's hideout. And he's very, very dapper. I mean, even, this kind of obviously predates the animated series. The penguin, who was, just as dapper as the live action one. They've already captured Felicia, the police commissioner Gordon's niece, not daughter, but niece, because the commissioner is a dog, and they have this. He and Sergeant O'Hare, or his second Chief O'Hare, stand in, have this discussion. Well, she's a cat, yeah, and you're a dog, yeah, and so that's a little interesting, but. Once again, this looks like the Joker's house or the Jester's house because look at that smiley. I just wonder if why would Bruce Kitty have that? So now watch this. His ears change color. So how about that? Anyway, now they're going there. There's the cat door. I didn't do that on purpose. It just worked out. The bad guys throw a large brick through the window. The Catmobile using its jets. They capture the police, the commissioner, and the chief, and they release Felicia on the promise she will not run to Catman and tell him what's going on. So of course she phones Bruce Kitty, and works out because Bruce Kitty is Catman, and he has to pretend he's not this. They use the exact same voice. They just didn't have time to think about these, but this could have been a really fun show if they'd have put a little more effort into being, not being so broad with the comedy and parody. Closed circuit television, and Tyrone wants, or the Poochquin wants a license to steal whenever he wants to, and wants the police commissioner could grant that, which shouldn't he have gone to somebody else? But and Glove from Yellow Submarine, Glovey-Dovey, obliterate them, and it's even blue. I'm not saying it was done on purpose because who knows, but maybe. And it's going to crush Catman and the Sparrow. Catman tickles the inside of the glove, tickles its fancy, and he lets him go. Now, I don't know if that's going to blow up or not, but of course, they roll out the red carpet for Catman and Sparrow, but Catman's got a drill in his utility belt. And something else that reverses things, makes a lot of doors. The Poochkin and his henchmen run into it, and off they go. Felicia just doesn't know what's going on until somebody tells her. They shake hands, and Waldo, of course, gets the hat back, and took something right. Obviously, Waldo was watching Godzilla's Revenge because he tricks Tyrone into running under his owner painting something, and the same thing happens. Poor Tyrone. He was just being a dog. Now you can see they're playing with this hat, so I'm sure that it's coated with something that drives these kitties wild. And Sparrow's gone. We don't see him again. And that is it, a Filmation production. So that's Waldo Kitty, episodes 4 through 6. We have 7 left. So I'm not sure how this will work out, but we've covered all the heroes and cycled into the next set. I like the show just fine. I do think it could have been better, obviously, but it isn't. It is what it is. And our next tomorrow, and it's going to be a movie. I'm not 100% sure which movie, but I'm going to leave a clue what it probably will be because I've got all those pictures ready to go. So, having said all that, until our next assignment. Oh, I don't have any. Until our next assignment, this is X7 signing off and phasing out.
Ultraman, here he comes from the sky. Ultraman, watch our hero fly. In a super jet he comes from a billion miles away, from a distant planet land. Comes our hero.